But to really to just lump it all in that, we have to just try, let's keep our eyes open and let's try to be realistic. At least that's what I say. And sure, yeah, you might say, I've been brainwashed. I've drank the Kool-Aid. Yeah, here's your Kool-Aid right here. It's rum and Coke. Cheers. But I know is growing up, look, when I was a little kid, I was convinced that Richard Nixon was a good guy. And I was one of those little kids that would watch the news and just say, you know what, we got to win this war in Vietnam. But when I got older and I looked back and I got a little bit of education, I turned into a liberal, But when I was a little kid, I was this little, lockstep little conservative. Because I see it as more kind of a primitive type of thinking. It's like eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. And at some point I became enlightened and figured out that that's sort of like, I've got mine, up by your own bootstraps, that kind of eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, that sort of conservative ideology. And I'm not saying it's all bad, we don't want lazy people. We don't want people looking for a handout. The idea though, the handout is meant to help people when they get on their feet. And that's the idea of churches that, Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons, they take care of their own. They don't kick them out. Oh yeah, you can't take care of yourself. It's not some sort of Ayn Rand, fantasy. God, talk about what an awful life that would be, living in an Ayn Rand world, of Atlas Shrugged. But anyway, I'm on the Wikipedia page, and there's some references to the John Birch Society and the Charlie Daniels song "Uneasy Rider." Any of you remember this song, Uneasy Rider? It's about this long-haired hippie. It's trying to go to California. And he goes through the South. And he ends up in this little redneck bar called the Dewdrop Inn. And he's going to get his ass kicked by these rednecks. And he starts pointing fingers, It's and he says this lyric in here is, I'm a faithful follower of Brother John Birch, and I belong to the Antioch Baptist Church. That's one of the other guys that's defending himself, because the hippie's all yeah, that guy even he's gone as low as tearing Wallace stickers off the bumpers of cars. And he's got a McGovern for President sticker up in his garage or something like that. Oh, I remember getting a big kick out of that song growing up. And in the movie Cold Turkey by Mayor Dick Van Dyke featured a reactionary Christopher Mott Society opposed to plans to have an entire small town quit smoking, which until offered policing function at a parade. So the group that was against this, when they were given the chance to be the authority, the men with guns, oh yeah, they took it up. John Birchers have always left the idea of what they do. Maybe on paper it looks good, but in practice, what they're about. Speaking of Ayn Rand, she said that they were ineffectual because the only thing they were against was communism, but they did nothing to help capitalism. So John Birchers are kind of like the remnants of McCarthyism. And if the John Birchers are the ones that are crying about CFR, I don't think that's a good argument. But I'm keeping an open mind, okay? Look, maybe there should be some oversight of CFR. But if you look in the history, there has been infighting there, okay? There's been anti-war activists during the Vietnam War in CFR. And I don't know. It all gets too confusing. Have I spent too much time on this topic? Yeah, I'm already kind of buzzed. Oh, good news. Ireland rejects the Lisbon Treaty. Once again, to my Irish brethren, Shlante. Hey, did anybody see that great video that's going on YouTube? It's a BBC. I don't know. No, it's not BBC, but it's some British television program, a documentary about being 100% English, and they go around and they go to these really crazy oh yeah, I'm 100% English way back, and if you're not white, you're not English, and all this kind of stuff. And they do genetic testing on them. And some of these people were their genetic code pointed out that they were mostly Chinese and things like that. That they had Middle Eastern in them and South African. You know, to be too filled with ethnic pride can be especially with today's science. It can turn around and bite you in the ass. Oh, all right. But I'm not doing too well with welcoming new subscribers. Maybe I've mixed it in there. Tell your friends that Fez Night has undergone a change, and maybe you still might find something entertaining in each and every bit. A lot of times people save it for the very, very last part. You know, I really wish I could do it like a little kid show and then say, and now for a cartoon. But I don't do animation. I can't help but mention once again Barack Obama and what it means to have him as the Democratic nominee. And I know some of you had said, "Oh yeah, you know, don't bother voting. It doesn't matter." You know, some of the anarchists out there. And you know what? In a way, I kind of like the anarchists. I like this just great idealism of this like wonderful la la land of anarchy.